All right. Well, welcome. My name is Sarah Pearson, and welcome to the International Business Alliance, and welcome to March. We're already in March 2nd. First, what I'd like to do is ask Barbara Cambia to give you a proper welcome, because if we had had this in person, if you imagine a year ago when we were having these in person, we were having them on the campus of Lynn University. They were a partner of ours from the beginning of the IBA program. I mean, when you pull into Lynn University and you see all those flags, it couldn't be a more proper place to have an International Business Alliance lunch. So great partners, and I wanted to ask Barbara if she'd share a little bit of what's happening at Lynn. So Miss Barbara Cambia.
Thank you, Sarah Pearson. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, normally this would be on campus. It's been 1 year now since we have not been on campus. Things are going smoothly here at Lynn. We continue to do the block scheduling with the students, and we'll continue that into the fall. We've had very little COVID cases, and that we've had no transmission in the classrooms, and none, zero. So that's all good.
It is a pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Again, I've known Andrew since I moved here, and he's always been a very friendly face to me, and I very much appreciate it. Definitely my go-to person when it comes to issues, when it comes to legislation, economic development. He knows a lot, has been involved at the county level, and what he's done at the research park is unbelievable. A lot of respect. I heard a few of you say, you're a fan or a supporter, and I don't know how that feels to be like, I'm, these people, but we are your fan, Andrew, and you do help us be better, and you make us look good. So thank you very much for that. So I am going to read his bio. Andrew Duffell is the president of the Research Park at Florida Atlantic University. Andrew Duffell's international background and multiple economic development roles have shaped his forward-thinking and problem-solving approach regarding the development of South Florida's economy using technology as a catalyst. Since becoming president and CEO of the Research Park at FAU in 2011, the Research Park's contribution to the region's economy has surged, largely due to the repositioning efforts Duffell has implemented. And again, we saw that firsthand, absolutely true. The Research Park at Florida Atlantic University is home to technology companies and research-based organizations working to support the research and development activities of Florida Atlantic University and to foster economic development and broaden the economic base of both Broward and Palm Beach counties. Under his leadership, it has become known as the South Florida's Laboratory for New Entrepreneurial Ideas and Technologies, and is a valuable asset in the region's economic development efforts. His personal achievements include being named the Greater Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce Business Leader of the Year, and being honored as the South Florida Business Journal Ultimate CEO, both of those in 2017, as well as a 2015 Palm Beach Ultimate CEO by the South Florida Business Journal, and being recognized in January of 2015 as a 40 under 40 rising star in economic development by Development Counselors International at the International Economic Development Council Leadership Summit. Currently, he serves on the boards of directors for the Greater Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce. So that's where I get to see him once a month and give us great leadership. He actually also served as the chair of our Economic Development Committee for many years, until it was more of a conflict to have him on the board and there, or else we would have kept him another 10 years. He also serves on the Florida Economic Development Council and the Children's Home Society of Florida, as well as other advisory boards related to economic development. In 2000, he was conferred the degree of Masters of Arts in European Studies by the University of Aberdeen, and in 2015, he earned his Master of Business Administration from Florida Atlantic University. So after this meeting, I will be happy to I'm hosting a Duffell fan club meeting. So you're all welcome to join me. I am the president of it, so nobody can take that term, but without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Andrew Duffell. Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much. You should always go out on top, so I'll just leave it there. I don't want to disappoint anybody. You're very kind for inviting me to speak today, and certainly for all of the comments um, to now. So thank you. What I do is really just tell the story of what's happening here at the Research Park, and I have a wonderful job. As Sarah said, you know, I've been here now since 2011. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years, and a lot has happened in the Research Park. A lot is still to be done. Our work couldn't be possible without, obviously, the community, and the chamber is a big part of that. But the big driver is the research enterprise at Florida Atlantic University. So in the last 7 years or so, the amount and quality of the research emanating from the university has increased significantly, making it more attractive to private companies that want to work in similar areas of technology. And therefore, we've been able to recruit some of those companies and make some good connections to the faculty and enhance the student experience, which has led to a lot of the success that we've seen. This is what I'd like to do is, before we sort of get started about global ventures, is really kind of set the scene for you to explain why we're embarking on global ventures now, and what it is that the Research Park does that enables global ventures. The Research Park belongs to you and to me as residents of Florida. It is a public asset. We are answerable to Broward County and Palm Beach County, which obviously are our governments. My board of directors, if you will, it's called an authority, but they are appointed by the county commission, and this is run as a public asset for the economic development of the two counties. Last year, as we all know, was a very challenging year for everybody, but despite those challenges, the Research Park companies maintained their workforces and even added 140 net new jobs to South Florida, created long-term high-paying jobs for 140 new people, which is not a huge number, but given what was going on last year, it's a fair result. In addition, we even managed to create 32 internships among the companies here at the park. Many of those are virtual. We transitioned and have had some very successful virtual internships that happened. The basic mission that we have is to bring private sector companies to the university to engage. So a professor can advance his or her research with a private sector company, hopefully giving it a little more speed to market. And the companies get the advantage of having some of the brightest minds in their field working on those initiatives and helping make it even better. From the student perspective, having those amazing cutting edge technology companies on the doorstep is obviously a big advantage as you go through your educational career. Having those opportunities to get some real world experience is very important. And from the employer perspective, being able to essentially interview somebody while they're still in school, make sure that when they are graduating, that person is already trained in what you're doing and you're a good fit for each other. So it really aims to be a really well-rounded offering. When we have companies that are really, really successful, there's no reason they have to leave the Research Park. So they can stay here forever. And obviously people who work here don't, they live not in the park, so their economic impact is spread. But if a company does leave, in the case of Modernizing Medicine, because they just got too big for us, we couldn't physically handle them and their space requirements, we aim for them to stay within our region. If they stay within Broward and Palm Beach, we consider that to be a success. The relationships and the connections they have with the university preserved and continue, and the economic impact and the investment that we've made as a region is prolonged by that company continuing its employment activities and philanthropic activities and engagement with schools. So the impact really is spread throughout the two-county region. So we've had a lot of success. We've got a long way to go, but what we are trying to do is make sure that we're always diversifying the economy, making sure that it is resilient for future downturns and future shocks like coronavirus. And obviously that's always going to be a work in progress. So that's the sort of foundation of what we're doing. And we've done that for 35 years, 36, this year is our 36th year. And we've seen a great deal of growth. We've got a lot of medical healthcare technology companies. We've really sort of developed a concentration in that industry. So during the pandemic, or as the pandemic continues, those companies have remained very busy. Many of them, all of them, stayed active throughout all of the lockdowns being essential. They took some of the stress off of the healthcare, the hospital system, and took elective and outpatient appointments off of the shoulders of the hospital systems. And we've also developed some expertise in sensors and embedded networks in, again, both areas where the university has expertise, and we're able to bring private sector companies alongside. So as these companies are all fairly well established, many of them are research based, which means they won't necessarily grow to be a big company like Modernizing Medicine, but will continue to provide new intellectual capital, new advances in technology. They'll be here and they'll be great contributors. And then they're fine, they're doing their job, they need us once in a while, but they're kind of on autopilot as they keep advancing in industry. What we were looking to do was to find a way to advance the number and quality of companies that we were able to assist. And so what we thought we would do as we built out this ecosystem of economic development in the wider FAU community was to make sure that budding entrepreneurs in the student body, as well as those from outside, had a place to fit in and find resources and find support. So as many of you know, we had an incubator in the research park for many years, the Technology Business Incubator, and it was very successful in filling a gap because there was no other substantial incubator in the region. We made a lot of connections with the faculty. We grew a good number of companies. Some of you, well, you all know Constant Contact has grown in tremendously over the last few years. One of its early acquisitions was a company that we grew here in the incubator. We helped Dan Kane with a couple of his previous ventures, so we'd had some good successes. But as Tech Runway got off the ground and became really substantial in providing a very structured curriculum to entrepreneurs, building their companies to the point where they could be invested in by investors and other funds, and develop prototypes and start to sell their products, we decided to let the university do that incubation because they were doing it so well. And in collaboration with them, we shifted our attention to second stage companies, companies that have developed their prototype, won over some investors, started to generate revenues, and are ready to take the next step and really scale up and be substantial players in the regional economy. So we named that Global Ventures. And the reason we did that is because we wanted to cater to the graduates of Tech Runway and the local entrepreneurs who are ready for that growth, but also because we had seen through our years of experience that we were, as a region, attractive to companies from overseas. We had, in the 2015 period onwards, we had found that we were working with companies from Brazil, from Norway, from Spain, from Ecuador, and they all came to us without us really making a proactive effort to find them. So we thought, why not, again, in this effort to really promote what we're doing and inject new energy to our economy, why not go to those areas that we think are attractive in terms of the technologies that they're developing and bring them here so that we as a Florida economy can start to see the benefits of that growth. So that's why we named it Global Ventures, and we picked Brazil and Israel as our primary target markets to go for. Obviously, there are lots of countries that we would like to go advertising and marketing in, but we had to start somewhere and wanted to start in a targeted way. So we picked Brazil because of its cultural affinity with South Florida. Obviously, there's a very large, the biggest Brazilian diaspora outside of Brazil is here. The Brazilian Business Group is a big partner of ours. And as I said, we'd seen some Brazilian companies come to us. So we picked Brazil. We then also picked Israel for similar reasons with the cultural aspect, but also because Israel's technology and reputation for innovation is just unsurpassed. So we thought that we would be great recipients of their technology. And companies from Israel traditionally look at New York or Silicon Valley for their US expansions. And we thought that South Florida would have a good offering to them because of that cultural awareness, a similar climate, a better tax structure, and a university that is really hungry to work in areas that a lot of Israeli expertise has developed. And many years ago, the state legislature split up the state university system and gave them all a bunch of countries to go develop relationships with. And Israel was assigned to Florida Atlantic University. So when Governor DeSantis went on a trade mission a couple of years ago, FAU went along and started to develop some really interesting relationships with the universities that we figured we could piggyback on. So we've started to market to those markets, to those countries, and we're certainly open to working with companies from any country. But that's where we're doing our primary hunting right now, and looking for companies that are in areas of technology where FAU has these expertise: healthcare, sensors and embedded networks, AI, and ocean engineering and things related to water management. So that's where we sort of fit into this greater FAU community of support. And as a company then sort of graduates from Global Ventures, they're welcome to stay in the research park and contribute over the long term, or graduate into the larger region, whether it's in Boca or Jupiter or in Deerfield Beach. Chastity, I told you I don't have audio, but I do. If we can't show it, that's not a problem. There's a video online that is a very short video about talking about what it is that, just a short advertisement for Global Ventures. The reason we wanted to bring more international companies to South Florida is not anything nefarious. It's not to take companies out of their home markets and deprive their home markets of the economic opportunity. It's not to bring foreigners here and take jobs away from Americans. It's really to benefit both. What we do is we help the company that has found success in its home country. And I'll take our first recruit from Brazil as an example. Go Awake has a technology for detecting long-haul truck drivers who fall asleep as they're driving because they have long treks through the Amazon. And they have a camera and sensor system that's able to alert the driver and a base station about how to make sure they stay awake. They've developed some really good contracts, and they're very successful in Brazil. And they'll stay there and they'll continue to develop that market. But they wanted to break into the US market. So two of them have moved here temporarily to set the company up. They're starting to hire US people to develop the technology. They've partnered with FAU. They've already invested real dollars with FAU to fine tune some of the engineering to make it more applicable to US situations, and they're adapting it to our market. They've actually engaged the university and are now participating in a big trial to detect early signs of dementia in senior drivers in our metro area. So not long haul drivers, but short trips and detecting dementia in the drivers. So they've done that. And as they grow, they'll be hiring US people. So what we've done is we've created new job opportunities for Florida residents. We've brought new intellectual capital to Florida from overseas that we did not have before. And we've brought new dollars into the US economy that wasn't here before. So we've brought three benefits instantly from bringing one company that we're also benefiting, because they're able to obviously grow their market at home and grow here extending their reach and increasing their own revenues. So it really is a situation that is beneficial to everybody. And I think even we launched it last year during the pandemic. We had success despite the pandemic. We were able to recruit 3 companies, 2 from Brazil, 1 from Canada. And we're obviously expecting greater things in 2021. We hired a program manager specifically to help market the program and then work with the companies when they're here. So Idalia Lasso has joined us about a month ago, and she's hit the ground running. But this year in particular, I think that the program, it takes on greater significance as we try to grow out of the downturn that was caused by the pandemic, and the fact that throughout recorded history, and that sounds a bit melodramatic, since records have been kept on foreign direct investment, which is probably 50 or 60 years, the US has been the number 1 destination for foreign direct investment from other countries. This year we fell to number 2. We lost the top position. So if we at the Research Park at FAU are successful in this venture of bringing small companies that are ready to really scale up and be significant to this country, we can help reverse that and put the US back on top, which is going to be incredibly important for geopolitical reasons in the near future, as we know. So this is an important initiative, one that we think we can be successful at, and that can then be replicated other areas in the region. There's no reason to say that we couldn't have a similar center, perhaps focused on different technologies in Fort Lauderdale, for example, and really make sure that we've got a good stream of money, ideas, and new jobs coming into our market to really help it grow, become more diversified, not relying on agriculture, tourism, and development as we have historically, to make everything stronger for this region. So what is it that we do for these companies? Why would they come to us? What do they get out of it? Each company that joins us goes through an application process. We really like, when we're looking for the companies, we're looking in those high-tech areas that the university has expertise in, so that we can be sure we can add value to their proposition. But in some cases, a company may come to us and say, we want to be with you. We're not necessarily in one of your core interest areas, but we think that, you know, South Florida is a really good market for us for different reasons. We'll go through the application process with them and potentially admit them, and could still end up being, they could be good contributors for us. But as we're looking, we're trying to bring in those companies where we know we can add value. And as they're admitted, they get access. We invest in making sure that the company gets 20 hours of dedicated consulting time to really develop and then fine tune their entry strategy. They might want to figure out which geographic markets are best for them, or which, develop customer lead lists or a strategy to improve their technology. Our consultants will work through that system with them to make sure they have exactly what they need to really execute and make sure that they grow. We've done this, as I say, successfully in the past. Our most successful company at this joined us in 2015 from Brazil. They did computer generated images for consumer retail. And they had an idea that they were doing this for the likes of Home Depot and Overstock.com, where you could visualize a piece of furniture in your home, in the room, and see how it would fit in and what have you. They had an idea that they wanted to do something similar for textiles, for clothes. So working with our consultants, they developed a strategy and started to execute on it. While they became so attractive in what they were doing, they got bought by a company from New York for $100 million. And because we had been successful in educating them about South Florida, integrating them into our community, we'd helped find a home for the CEO. We had made sure that his kids were aware of FAU. His son is now a senior at FAU in the College of Business. They were involved in charities and so on. They were bought by a New York company, but insisted on leaving the company here and growing the employee base here in South Florida. So it was, again, was a win for everybody. So we've got a framework that we work with these companies on to make sure they have what they need, that'll be successful for them and successful for us. Through our network, obviously, we make sure that companies are aware of all the different funding sources, whether it's a small business development center or angel investors or traditional bank financing. Through our network, we make all of those introductions. We make sure that, and Sarah and Chastity, I hope will validate this, that when our companies say to me, I need to find a house, but I don't want to buy, I want to rent, I called Allison actually at the chamber and I said, who specializes in rental homes? And she gave me a name instantly. I connected Felipe here from Go Awake. He met with the lady the next day. They're fast friends. She gave me exactly what I needed. So we use the chamber as an extension of what we're doing to make sure that the chamber membership is our referral source. It's imperative to us, if we're going to refer a company to a vendor, that vendor be reputable and good at what it does. And so we have that in the chamber membership. We're able to refer those companies and know that they're good actors in the community. And obviously we use, the companies need legal assistance, banking assistance, accounting, and so on. And we're able to make those referrals. Lastly, here on this slide, but very, very importantly, I'm, as you have all discussed, not from the US. I came from a different country. In fact, I've lived in 4 different countries. I know what it's like to go somewhere and not speak the language, not understand why people do certain things because of cultural norms. Idalia also is a Mexican native, understands the same thing. So what we work very hard on integrating the person and the family into South Florida and to working and living in the US. And we've also got, obviously, the resources of the university to help us in language training. They specialize in courses for English for business, English as a second language, whether it's for children or for professionals and so on. So we're able to make sure that we take care of the whole enterprise, from personal and family to how to run a business and then how to perfect your business as well. So we really try to take care of everything so that the company, the executives can really focus on doing what they do and doing it to the best of their abilities. Here you can see the different specialties that we have identified using the resources of the university. These are the areas we're really looking for the best small companies in the world. They can certainly be domestic companies. We want to work with US companies as much as we want to work with international companies. If they're in these fields, we're confident that an affiliation with the Florida Atlantic University faculty would be beneficial to those companies based on sharing equipment, doing some joint research, certainly employing interns who have similar interests and are driven in the same fields. They'll find more and more success. So this really is a new initiative that we launched, as I said, last year. We were a little nervous doing it in the middle of a pandemic, but we had laid all the groundwork and we had committed to Palm Beach County and to the city of Boca Raton that we would do this and do it with success. So we went ahead and launched, and we're very grateful for their support. Each of the 7 county commissioners and 5 city council people have been very supportive of all of our initiatives over the years and understood the value proposition that we're bringing, and as you see, have invested in what we're doing to the benefit of the regional economy. We also let the International Business Innovation Association know what we were doing, and they did a rigorous analysis of our proposal, our track record, my background, Idalia's background, and what we were offering, and agreed that it was substantial. And so we also received their official designation as a soft landing center, which signals to companies around the world that if they want to come to the US, that this is a center that knows how to accommodate them, welcome them into this community, and help grow them. Importantly, with that designation, we're now eligible and have just applied for a grant from INBIA and the US State Department to host a group of healthcare entrepreneurs from Central America at some point during this year. If we get the grant, we will work with those entrepreneurs every month for 11 months, and then they will visit Boca Raton and the research park to continue their education and their knowledge of what we're offering. Obviously, the benefit to us is we get 10 screened and already validated candidates who could potentially come here with their technologies, and they will already know who we are, what we're doing, and we'll have a relationship with them. So we hope the chances of being selected by them will be much higher, and therefore, you know, they'll come in and they'll invest in our economy. So we're hopeful that opportunity comes to fruition, and then there'll be others in the future. We're about to, next week, we're going to be a sponsor of the very first Florida International Trade Expo that is entirely virtual. And we will be interacting with technology companies from around the world, but the predominance of registrants is from Latin America. And so we hope to start really spreading the message aggressively to our targeted industries about what we're doing, why South Florida is the best place to come and grow their companies when they've got the whole world to choose from. And right now, if you've seen the press, you know, there's a big discussion about Miami. Miami should really be understood to be South Florida. It is increasingly an attractive place for tech companies from around the world to come to because of our geographic location at the cross point between South and North America, easy access to Europe, multilingual, multicultural workforce here in South Florida, friendly tax environment, and so on. To add to that, which is sort of Florida-wide or South Florida-wide, FAU is the most diverse university in Florida. Florida A&M in Tallahassee is predominantly African-American. FIU in Miami is predominantly Hispanic. FAU is a majority minority university. People are at FAU from all over the world, which gives us a great, rich opportunity for new ideas, new interactions, new perspectives, and it's something that we think really adds to the value proposition that we're taking to market. So we're excited. It's shown some very early progress, and with Idalia on board now, with some new marketing initiatives we're launching, I think that 2021 will be a very exciting year for the whole research park, and especially for Global Ventures as we bring more and more companies to Boca Raton to really become members of the chamber, members of this sort of discussion group with new perspectives, new ideas, and to make our community more and more successful. To me, economic development is not necessarily just making the pie bigger, but increasing the quality of the pie, making sure that there's opportunity for all involved, making sure that people understand there is a pathway to success no matter where you come from or who you are. And people like me and Idalia and my other colleagues are committed to making sure that we do everything possible to show you the resources that exist and help you succeed. Because at the end of the day, it really is in all of our interests to see more technology develop that creates new jobs, creates new opportunities for wealth generation, and especially in an area like healthcare where we have such expertise, improve human health and improve the outcomes that are developed from those technologies. So it's a great feeling, it's a great job. I've been doing it 10 years and I don't really intend going anywhere. So I'll leave it there, and I'm happy to take any questions or address them offline as well.
Yeah, I see somebody wrote, may we ask a few questions? Absolutely. So what I'd love is, Gabrielle, you want to start since you asked first?
Yeah. Hi, Andrew. Everything you're doing sounds phenomenal. No, I myself come from Latin America. I've lived around 6 countries. I'm a Lynn alumni. Actually, when you were talking about telemedicine, AI, and all that, my family does have a company dedicated to that, specifically virtual reality and reducing the prices on how can I say it? Reducing the prices of the doctors so that people from lower economic classes can benefit from psychiatrists,
Mhm.
cardiologists, all that, for example, no?
Sure.
Taxes, how would that benefit Alivio, for example, that's the company's name, how would that benefit them going to Boca, you know? Or should I ask, should we first put an LLC upstate in Delaware, or should our LLC be in Florida? And then because we're in the Boca Chamber of Commerce, we benefit somehow from that.
Well, I wouldn't want to give sort of legal advice, so an attorney could answer the question of where best to incorporate. But if the company is incorporated and legally entitled to do business in the US, they are welcome to get in touch. I'd certainly be willing to speak to you and the company offline about the specifics of what we might be able to offer and some of the connections that we can make, and work through the individual case. But it sounds like there could very well be a good fit. As I say, FAU really has come a long, long way in healthcare and has just signed some new agreements with Memorial Health System in Broward to improve patient-doctor interactions. And telemedicine is going through the legislature beginning today to allow doctors to speak to patients from out of state and so on. So there's probably a lot that we can work on together.
Okay, so basically you want the company in Florida. It does not matter if it's an LLC in Delaware, Wyoming, etc., right?
Right.
My second question is visas. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
No, I was coughing.
Okay. Visas, how would that work for the company? You know, it has been hard for people from Latin America to get visas in the last couple of years, specifically working visas. So how would we run through that terrain, actually?
It is a very difficult problem, and it's not just people from Latin America. I've had European entrepreneurs here that have established their lives here and had to go back on L visas. So there's no easy answer. Obviously, that's a federal question. We're working with the delegation to see what can be done. We're also looking at the possibility in the future of being in a position to sponsor visas ourselves. Today, we're not able to do that. So if the company's executive wanted to be the person to come here and establish the company, he or she would need to have a valid visa to be here. The alternative is to hire someone locally to stand the company up and potentially go backwards and forwards to the other country to take direction and so on. But if they could hire a US person to start that, otherwise they'd need a visa, and it's very challenging right now. Hopefully it'll get better, but it's still as it was before.
Okay, and just my last question is, do you have connections with VCs? I know a lot of VCs are heading south from California, so I was asking if you guys have a lot of connections with venture capitals, so there would be a Series A, Series B funding, etc.
Yes, so we don't make investments ourselves, but yes, we have relationships with angel investors, seed investors, and then traditional VCs as well. And obviously the introductions that we would make would be tailored to the company and its particular industry. VCs often have industries of interest, so we wouldn't introduce someone from healthcare to a VC that's only interested in aerospace. So we'd make those specific links.
All right.
Okay, perfect. No, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. It looks like, is it Luis? He has a question.
Yes, thank you. Very interesting speech, and I appreciate it. I wanted to ask, you mentioned that the center is more focused now on second stage companies or startups. Where can a early stage company or startup can go to get some help or funding? I understand that the university also has that.
Yes, so the university has Tech Runway, which is specifically designed to help very early stage companies essentially become real, transform from being a business plan into becoming a company. And they go through a 12-month process of classroom education, as well as mentors with vetted mentors to make sure that the company is stood up in a way that makes it attractive to investors. They have the ability to help them develop prototypes if it's a physical product, and then start to make introductions to early investors and even start to sell to customers to generate revenue. So that's the Tech Runway, and their application period is open right now for this year's class.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Marisol.
First, I want to say thank you to Andrew. Always a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you.
And say thank you again, because Research Park from the inception of the Hispanic Entrepreneur Initiative has been a great partner and supporter. And I commend what they are doing as a person that in my personal life, through my husband's jobs, we moved 18 times in 27 years. You are doing it right, because Research Park has this 360-degree vision of this company relocating. So they take into consideration all aspects of what's going to happen when this person comes into the new country. So congratulations, Andrew, and wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions? Go ahead and just unmute yourself if you have a question. I do have a question. A few. First, are you giving tours right now, or is that kind of like?
We haven't done recently, or I think we did a couple of months ago to somebody. So yes, we'll just get in touch and we'll make sure to accommodate however we can. We are doing some advanced photography to try and make as close to a virtual tour as possible to go online as well.
And I mean, I wonder how many people have actually been to the research park. Maybe if you wouldn't mind raising your hand if you've been there.
Been? Yeah.
I ask because it's right in the heart of Boca. And the stuff that goes on is amazing. I know we go for leadership, and when I went 8 years ago, there was, you guys were testing like radio waves, and there's like a room with this padded walls, and you know, some of the stuff
That's
that
my
goes
office
on.
with the padded walls.
Is that where you're, I mean, it was crazy. So, I mean, I think you got to see it to believe how amazing it is. All of those services that are offered, but then the actual, the park is amazing. So, you know, I don't know if there's a way to connect directly to Andrew, to see, to get your feet on the ground. Valentina, did you have a question?
No, I'm just impressed with what Andrew is saying. I wish that when I came 14 years ago, I had someone who take me by my hand and you know, and help me with absolutely everything. So I'm very excited to see what else you're gonna bring to the area. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions? Comments? Well, again, yes, thank you very much, Andrew, for what you're doing, what you continue to do, and what we're going to see in the upcoming years. Thank you for your partnership and just making us all look good, just like I had said.
Thank you all very much. Really appreciate your time and your interest, and I'm here for any questions and feedback, you know, and any, if you have relatives, friends that want to learn more. But what you all do, and this is not an exaggeration or a platitude, what you do makes what we do possible. As I said, I won't make referrals to companies I don't know or don't have a good level of confidence in. And I do that with the Boca Chamber membership unreservedly. So thank you.
Yeah, I can show you the emails. They're always asking personally and professionally who we know, and we love to give referrals. So, and we get referrals too from Andrew. So it's awesome. So thank you. I want to remind everyone, next week we have our in-person membership breakfast. We're going to have Andrea Virgin speak about Boca's Cultural Arts and Innovation Center that really looks like it's coming to fruition. Will be at the end of Meisner Park. It's a very big deal, and we should all be aware of it, especially when you're recruiting people to this area. It's one more amazing amenity that Boca will have to, you know, another tool in our toolbox when recruiting and maintaining businesses here. So plus it'll be fun for all of us on the weekends. So, so come to our breakfast for that. And then lastly, we have a new workshop coming up. The first one, Chastity, if you can help me out, I believe it's on the 16th on Tuesday morning.
Yes, it is
Yes.
the 16th. It's our Spring into PR workshop series.
All right, well, she sounds like a robot, but she said it's our Spring into PR robot series. So, or robot, PR series. It's a 3-part series where we're gonna actually have somebody from Lynn teach you how to write a press release. Simple thing like writing a press release. It can make or break, you know, getting the press, getting people to look at it. Then we're gonna have Joanne Poland come in and tell us what to do with that press release and how to get it out there. And then we're gonna wrap it up with Bonnie Kay from K Communications, who's gonna teach us how to have strategic partnerships in the community as it relates to whatever that press is. So it's like this cool 3-part workshop. It's once a month. It's a benefit as a member. It's free. So watch for that. I think we're going to send an email out tomorrow on that. But we're still working for you. We're working hard for you. And again, thank you very much, Andrew, for speaking with us today. And that's it. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you.